The Erebus 9 listening station floated alone in deep space, far from every trade route and far from every war front. Most days, nothing happened there. The crew joked that the station was so quiet, even the stars had forgotten it existed. But today, something changed. Commander Rylus sat in his chair, bored, staring at the empty radar screen. He had spent 12 years watching silence. 12 years waiting for something interesting. 12 years thinking he would die here, unseen and unremembered. At 3:17 station time, the silence finally broke. A pulse, deep, powerful, ancient, hit the station like a shockwave. The monitors flickered. Lights dimmed. The floor shook under Rylus' feet. "Report!" he shouted. Technician Mora stared at her screen, confused. "Sir, this energy signal, it's impossible." "Nothing is impossible," Rylus replied automatically. But he felt fear in his chest. Mora shook her head. "Sir, this signal is over 20,000 years old." Rylus froze. 20,000. That was older than any empire. Older than the Council. Older than most species. Older than the human race itself. "Where is it coming from?" he asked. Mora zoomed in on her display. "It's coming from the dead system of Erebus 9. The same system their station was orbiting. The same system declared forbidden by every empire. The same system humans once used as their central military hub." Suddenly, the radar screamed with a second alert. A shape appeared on the screen. Huge. Dark. Silent. A ship. But not just any ship. A Dreadnought. "Sir," Mora whispered, "this is human design." Rylus swallowed hard. "Impossible. Humans vanished thousands of years ago." "And yet," Mora said, "the ship is right there." The entire station shook again. The object began to move, slow, steady, like something waking from a long sleep. Officer Tren rushed to the observation deck window. He looked outside and almost dropped to his knees. Through the darkness of space, a shadow slid out of the dust clouds. Larger than any cruiser. Larger than any carrier. It looked like a floating mountain of black metal. The hull glowed with ancient markings. Old human symbols no one had seen in ages. Rylus stepped beside him and felt his blood turn cold. "No," he whispered. "It can't be." The side of the ship carried a name burned into its armor. HDS Titan Void. A human dreadnought class that every empire believed destroyed in the Great Human War. A class capable of wiping fleets alone. A class every record said was lost. "Is it active?" Rylus asked quietly. Mora checked her readings. "Sir, its power core is running. Full energy. Like it never shut down." Rylus stared at the Dreadnought in disbelief. That ship should not exist. That ship should be dust. But it was not dust. It was alive. A low rumble traveled through the station as the Dreadnought drifted closer. It moved with purpose, almost like it was studying the small listening post watching it. Technician Mora stepped back from her station. "Sir, I think it scanned us." Rylus felt a cold sweat run down his back. What did it detect? Mora's hands shook as she read the data. Everything. Our weapons, our crew, our life signs. Everything. This scan is far more advanced than anything we know. The screen suddenly flashed bright red. "Commander!" Mora shouted. "Its main cannon is charging." Rylus' heart dropped. "Why? We didn't attack it." The Dreadnought's massive central cannon began to glow, white-hot, brighter than a star. Every person in the station felt the heat through layers of metal. Officer Tren backed away in panic. "If it fires, we're gone. We can't survive that." Rylus forced himself to stay calm. "Open a distress signal to the Galactic Council. Now." "Yes, sir." Mora sent the signal, but the Dreadnought's presence interfered with the system. Static filled the speakers. Then a sound came through the comms. A deep, slow hum. Not a voice. Not a message. Something older. Something angry. The Dreadnought shifted position. Its cannon stopped glowing. Instead, lights along its hull flickered one by one. Blue, red, gold. Like the ship was waking up fully. "Commander," Mora whispered. "This ship, It feels alive. Rylus nodded slowly. It's preparing for something. Then the ship did something none of them expected. It turned away from the listening station and aimed its cannon at a small dead moon in the distance. No, Rylus whispered. Why the moon? A blinding flash erupted from the Dreadnought. The cannon fired. The moon didn't explode. It simply vanished. No debris. No dust. No sound. Erased. Like it never existed. The crew stood frozen in horror. The Dreadnought rotated again, slowly, gently, until its gigantic cannon pointed straight at the listening station. Silence filled the room. Strict, heavy, suffocating silence. Then the ship spoke. A single line. A voice deep and cold, echoing through every speaker. Humanity not detected. Another pause. All foreign fleets a hostile. Rylus felt his breath catch. Mora covered her mouth. Officer Tren whispered, terrified. Sir, what have we woken up? The Dreadnought's lights burned brighter. The stars dimmed. And Erebus, 9 fell into a darkness that felt like the start of something terrible. Something impossible. Something unstoppable. The message from the Erebus, 9 listening station traveled fast. Faster than anyone expected. Every empire received the same terrifying transmission. A human dreadnought has awakened. Moon erased. We may be next. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt fear. The Council panic. Inside the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, chaos ruled. Leaders shouted over one another, their voices shaking with fear. Holograms flickered, showing the dreadnought drifting across Erebus 9. It cannot be real, one ambassador yelled. Humans are gone, another insisted. Their ships are ruins. Grand Speaker Lorthan slammed his staff on the floor. Enough. The recording is clear. Whatever that thing is, it carries a human name. He switched the screen. The name on the dreadnought's hull flashed. HDS Titan Void. The room grew silent. Everyone knew the stories. Everyone remembered the war. Every empire had fought against humans once. Many had tried to erase them completely. And now one of their greatest weapons had returned. A new fear. The Council Defense Chief stepped forward. His voice trembled. That moon did not crack. It did not explode. It vaporized instantly. No known weapon can do that. A cold breath spread across the hall. If the ship considers us enemies, he continued, we cannot fight it. Empress Theral of the Zarian Empire stood tall, refusing to show weakness. Then we take it before it awakens completely. You want to capture it? A counselor gasped. Theral nodded sharply. My empire will send a fleet. We must control this ship before it decides to destroy us. Many agreed. Many were terrified. But one truth was clear. No one wanted to be the last empire to act. A deadly race begins. Hours later, fleets across the galaxy jumped into warp. The Zarians launched their prime destroyer group. The Korth Dominion sent battle carriers. The Vec Coalition deployed stealth cruisers. Even the peaceful Lumen Alliance readied warships they swore never to use. Everyone wanted the Dreadnought. Everyone feared it. And everyone planned to use it. The galaxy had changed in one moment. The listening station holds on. Commander Rylus and his small crew remain trapped on the Erebus 9 station, watching the Dreadnought drift like a sleeping giant. It hasn't moved in hours, Officer Tren whispered. Rylus didn't relax. That only means it's thinking. Technician Mora stared at her console. Sir, dozens of fleets are entering the system now. Rylus muttered, it's going to turn into a war zone. More red lights flashed on Mora's screen. Sir, you need to see this. She opened a decrypted channel. A desperate voice spoke. Erebus, 9 station. This is Captain Velra of the Council Fleet. Do not approach the human ship. Repeat, avoid all contact. Rylus replied, we are not approaching anything. The ship scanned us. It erased a moon. I know, Velra said shakily. We saw the recording. We are trying to contain the situation. A loud static burst interrupted the channel. Velra shouted, do not engage. The signal vanished. Rylus stepped back. Something cut her transmission. But it wasn't something. It was something else. The first fleet arrives. The Zarian Empire's fleet came into view, hundreds of ships strong, each shining with weapon ports and shields. A booming voice echoed across the system. To the unknown human vessel, stand down. We are taking control. The Dreadnought did not react. Zarian warships surrounded it like hunters circling a sleeping beast. Do not fire, the Zarian admiral ordered. We only need to attach boarding hooks and open the hull. Mora said quietly. They have no idea what they are doing. Tren whispered. They think it's just a dead relic. Rylus shook his head. Nothing about this ship is dead. Zarian drones flew toward the Dreadnought, ready to drill inside. They reached 20 meters. 10 meters. 5. Every drone shut down instantly. The Dreadnought pulsed with a dim golden glow. Drones malfunctioning, the Zarian admiral reported. Trying again. They sent more drones. They shut down too. Then the Zarian flagship captain gave a dangerous order. Use tractor beams. Force it toward our carriers. The Dreadnought wakes. As soon as the tractor beams touched the hull, the Dreadnought's lights flashed bright red. Rylus felt his chest tighten. Oh no! They woke it, Mora whispered. Sir, its weapon core is rising again. A low rumble filled the space around them. Every Zarian ship felt it through their hulls. A vibration. A warning. The Dreadnought spoke once again, its voice deep and cold. Hostile action confirmed. A second line followed, darker than before. Defense protocol activated. And then, a blinding flash. The Dreadnought moved. Not slowly. Not drifting. It moved like a predator. With speed no ship of its size should have. It turned its central cannon toward the Zarian fleet. The admiral screamed, "Break formation! Retreat!" But it was too late. Light burst from the cannon. Silence followed. Every Zarian ship was gone. Not damaged. Not destroyed. Simply gone. Like the moon. Like dust erased from existence. The galaxy understands the truth. The Council fleet, arriving moments later, watched in horror. No one spoke. No one breathed. Commander Rylus felt his heart beating painfully inside his chest. Technician Mora whispered the words no one wanted to say. This ship doesn't want control. It wants justice. Officer Tren stared at the Dreadnought, trembling. Sir, if it sees every empire as hostile, he whispered, then the whole galaxy is in danger. Rylus nodded slowly. The Dreadnought turned its massive hull toward the approaching fleets. Lights glowed across its surface. The voice echoed one more time. Judgment begins. The Erebus 9 system had never seen so much movement in a single day. Fleets from every empire arrived one after another, all stopping at a safe distance from the human Dreadnought. No one dared come too close after watching the Zarian fleet vanish in a single flash. The Titan void floated silently again, cold and dark, as if nothing had happened. But everyone knew better now. They knew it was waiting. They knew it was watching. Commander Rylus stood at the viewing window inside the listening station, unable to pull his eyes away from the massive ship. It hung in the void like a sleeping beast, ancient, wounded, but still dangerous. How can something so old be so strong? Officer Tren whispered. Rylus did not answer. He didn't know. Technician Mora studied her console. Sir, its power readings are rising again. Tren stepped back. Is it charging the cannon? No, Mora said slowly. Something else is happening. Lights began to appear along the Dreadnought's hull, bright and sharp, turning on one by one. Rows of blue lights on the port side, red lights across the top ridge, golden lines outlining the ship's huge structure. It looks like... Mora paused. Like it's waking up. Rylus felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. A ship that can erase moons is waking up. That is not good news. The Council fleet approaches carefully. The Galactic Council's main fleet formed a line between the Dreadnought and every other empire. They were terrified of its power, but even more terrified of what would happen if any empire tried to steal it. Captain Velra, who had tried to warn Rylus earlier, now commanded the defensive front. She opened a channel to every ship in the system. No one fires. No one approaches. We wait. But not everyone listened. A small Dominion fleet slid forward, eager to prove their strength. "Stand down," Velra warned. "This ship erased a moon. Do not test it." The Dominion commander laughed through the comms. "We will not be scared by a ghost from an extinct species." He ordered his ships to lock targeting systems on the Dreadnought. Rylus whispered, "Fools!" The moment the targeting beams touched the Titan void, the Dreadnought reacted. The lights on its hull turned blood red. Then its engines came alive. Not with fire. Not with plasma. With something older. Something deeper. The entire space around the ship bent, like gravity itself was obeying its command. Mora gasped. "Sir, it's awakening its core system." The voice returns. A deep vibration shook every ship in the system. Every speaker crackled. Every monitor flickered. Then the voice returned, cold, slow, and heavy, like the sound came from inside the metal itself. Foreign vessels detected. A pause that made every heart freeze. Human signatures, none. Another pause. It felt like the whole universe held its breath. Threat classification, total. The Dreadnought turned toward the Dominion ships. The Dominion commander shouted, "All ships deploy countermeasures." But the Dreadnought didn't fire. Not yet. Instead, it opened a long, sharp eye-shaped structure along its front section. It was not a window. It was not a weapon. It looked like an eye. A giant, glowing human-made eye. Tren whispered, voice trembling. Is it alive?" Rylus did not respond. He stared at the glowing eye, feeling something he had not felt in years. Dread. The eye glowed brighter. 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 Then a shockwave hit the system. Every ship, Council, Dominion, Vec, Lumen, every empire, felt the impact. Spiked energy radiated outward like a heartbeat. Mora's console exploded with warnings. "Sir, the Dreadnought just scanned the entire system." Rylus asked, "What did it learn?" Mora's face drained of color. "Everything," she whispered. "Every ship. Every weapon, every life form, every empire's technology. It knows all of it." The past returns. Inside the Galactic Council flagship, Captain Velra watched the readings with horror. No ordinary scanner could do this. No modern ship could even attempt it. This was old human tech. The kind that once turned entire wars in minutes. Velra whispered, "If this ship wakes fully, no one can stop it." A historian on board stepped forward, pale and shaking. "There was an old human protocol," he said quietly. "A final command they created during the war." Velra turned to him. "What command?" He looked at the Dreadnought's glowing eye. "Protocol 0, he said. It meant total destruction of all enemies." Velra felt her throat tighten. "Are you saying this ship thinks we are their enemies?" "Yes," the historian whispered. "Humans were attacked by every empire once. The ship remembers. It will not forgive. The first strike." The Dominion fleet still attempted to form a defensive shield. "Raise barriers," the commander shouted. But the Dreadnought didn't shoot its main cannon. Instead, it fired a thin, needle-like beam. Silent, almost invisible. The beam struck the Dominion flagship. In 1 second, the ship froze. In 2 seconds, its metal turned white. In 3 seconds, it crumbled into dust. And the dust vanished. Every Dominion captain screamed, "Retreat! Retreat!" The Dreadnought's eye dimmed. Then its voice whispered, "Protocol 0 reviewed." The glowing lights turned blue again. "Sir," Mora whispered, "it's deciding something." Rylus stared at the Titanic ship, feeling chilled to the bone. "What is it deciding?" Tren asked. Rylus answered quietly, "It is deciding if the whole galaxy deserves to live." The Dreadnought shifted, turning its massive hull slowly toward the entire collection of fleets. Its giant eye opened again. Brighter, wider, colder. The voice echoed one more time. "Judgment pending." The Erebus, 9 system had fallen into a strange silence. Not the calm silence of empty space. This silence felt alive. Heavy. Watching. The human dreadnought, Titan Void, floated at the center of hundreds of ships, like a giant ancient eye staring at insects it did not understand, or did not respect. Commander Rylus and his crew inside the listening station watched with frozen nerves. The giant glowing eye on the dreadnought's front remained open, bright enough to light the nearby asteroids. Technician Mora whispered, "Sir, it's scanning again." Rylus did not blink. "It's judging." Officer Tren gulped. "Judging who?" Rylus answered quietly, "Everyone." Inside the Council flagship, Captain Velra stood in front of a massive hologram of the dreadnought. Her advisors argued behind her. "We must strike now," one shouted. "We should run," another screamed. "Ask it for peace," someone else begged. Velra raised her hand. "Enough." She stared at the giant metal titan in the distance. "If we attack, we die. If we run, it will follow. If we talk, there is a chance." A nervous officer whispered, "Talk? To that thing." Velra replied, "If this ship was built by humans, it must understand language." She turned to her pilot. "Open a channel." A message of desperation. A soft static filled every speaker in the system. Velra spoke carefully, slowly. "Human vessel Titan Void. This is Captain Velra of the Galactic Council. We request peaceful communication." There was no response. She tried again. "We do not wish to fight. We only want to understand." Still silence. She closed her eyes. "Please respond." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the giant eye on the dreadnought blinked. A deep vibration echoed across space. Every ship felt it. Every heart froze. The dreadnought spoke. Communication denied. The voice was colder than before. More awake. More aware. Velra's stomach twisted. "Why rejected?" The dreadnought answered. "Human command code missing." Velra whispered, "It wants a human." Her entire bridge went silent. The factions break. Across the system, panic spread. The Korth Dominion opened fire on the Council fleet, furious that they were trying diplomacy. "You cannot bargain with a weapon," their admiral shouted. The Vec Coalition activated stealth systems, hoping Titan Void would ignore them. The Lumen Alliance retreated to the edges of the system, too terrified to stay close. Everyone wanted a different solution. Everyone feared the same outcome. The dreadnought watched them all, silent, like a teacher watching children fight over something they did not understand. Mora looked at her screen. "Sir, dozens of ships are firing at each other." Rylus clenched his fists. "They're not fighting the dreadnought. They're fighting each other." Tren whispered, "It's exactly what the ship expects." The Titan speaks again. Suddenly, the dreadnought pulsed, a shockwave of blue light sweeping across the battlefield. Weapons shut down. Engines stalled. Shields collapsed. Every ship, from every empire, went dark. The dreadnought had disabled them all. The voice returned. Human war records accessed. Rylus felt his heart stop. "War records?" Mora asked. Rylus nodded slowly. "It's reading its memory. It's remembering the war." The voice continued. "Foreign species. Former enemies. Casualties recorded. Extreme. Human survival probability. 0. The last words felt like a soft knife across every ship's hull. Tren whispered, "It thinks humans are gone. All of them. Forever." Inside the Council flagship, Captain Velra's hands shook. She spoke through the comm again. "We were not responsible for the war. The leaders who fought humans are long dead. New generations lead this galaxy. We do not wish to harm humanity." For a moment, only static answered. Then the dreadnought replied. "Intent. Irrelevant. Damage. Remembered. Protocol 0 a final." Rylus murmured, "Protocol 0. The order to destroy all human enemies." Tren stepped back. "Sir, we are done. All of us." But the dreadnought did not attack. Instead, something unsettling happened. The Dreadnought opens its second eye. A second glowing eye appeared on the other side of the ship. Taller, sharper, brighter. Every sensor across the system went crazy. Mora gasped. "Sir, it's activating a second core." Rylus whispered. "A second one?" The first core was enough to erase moons. Tren trembled. "What does a second core do?" No one knew. No one wanted to know. The Dreadnought's voice deepened, shaking the stars. "Judgment process. 60%. Velra whispered. "It's calculating how to kill us." Something unexpected. Then, without warning, the Dreadnought stopped glowing. The two eyes dimmed. The engines powered down. The ship froze completely. "Sir," Mora said in shock. "Everything just shut off." Rylus stared at the Dark Titan. "Is it broken?" Tren shook his head. "It doesn't break." Across the system, every fleet watched in confusion. Then Mora screamed. "Sir!" A new energy signature inside the Dreadnought. Rylus snapped his head toward her. "What kind?" She swallowed. "Life," she whispered. "Something alive is inside that ship." Rylus felt his body turn cold. "Alive?" "After 20,000 years." Tren whispered the only answer that made sense. "It's not a ship waking up, sir." He stared at the now silent Titan. "Something inside it is waking up." The news spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. The human Dreadnought was moving again. Not drifting. Not silent. Not dead. Moving. Every empire felt the same cold fear. The ship that should not exist, the ship that should have stayed buried, was now changing its course. And no one knew why. Inside the Grand Galactic Council Hall, leaders of 39 star systems gathered. Their faces showed the same fear, even if none of them wanted to admit it. The hall lights dimmed as the central holoscreen activated. A trembling operator spoke. "The human Dreadnought has accelerated to .02 light speed. Current trajectory, unknown." "Unknown!" The Valar Emperor's voice cracked. "It is headed toward someone." "Find out who." The operator only swallowed and lowered his head. The hall fell quiet. Nobody wanted to speak the truth. They were all hoping the ship was not coming for them. Admiral Redhar of the Zalkan Dominion stood up, his metallic armor clicking softly. "This is your fault," he growled at the council. "You should have destroyed the artifact when we found it." A small creature from the Alari Confederacy squeaked. "Destroy it? It was unbreakable. Our strongest beams only scratched the dust." Redhar slammed his fist on the table. "Then you should have left it buried. Humanity created monsters. They made machines that even time could not kill." Several council members lowered their eyes. They all remembered the old stories. Stories about humans and their machines of war. Stories of planets turned into ash in minutes. Stories of fleets erased from star charts. But those were old myths, right? Now no one was sure. Suddenly the holoscreen buzzed again. A new message. This one worse than all the previous ones. The operator's voice cracked. "Council, the Dreadnought has activated long-range scanners." Every leader froze. Ships that scan are ships that see. Ships that see are ships that choose. And ships that choose may decide to strike. The hall filled with whispers. Why now? What is it looking for? Does it know we opened it? Does it want revenge? The council leader, a calm but trembling Olarian elder, raised her hand. "Silence. Panic will not save us." The Dreadnought did not fire on our scouts. It ignored us. That means something else woke it. The room went even quieter. Everyone knew what she meant. If the Dreadnought was not attacking, then it was reacting. Something had triggered it. Something even worse. Across the room, a lone scientist stepped forward. Dr. Yurna was small, tired, and visibly shaking, but she held a datapad tight against her chest. "I have studied the recordings and the structure of the ship," she said. "And I believe we have misjudged something." Redhar snarled. "What now? Speak." Dr. Yurna took a deep breath. "The ship. It is not only a weapon. It is also a warning system." The hall erupted in noise. A warning system? For what? For who? For us. Impossible. The scientist raised her voice, something she never did. Listen. The humans did not build the ship to attack the galaxy. They built it to watch something else. A cold silence spread. Everyone felt the same thing in that moment. A terrible idea forming slowly, painfully. What was it watching? The council leader whispered. Dr. Yurna's hands shook as she tapped her datapad. A projection appeared above her head, showing old star maps from thousands of years ago. Human maps. Ancient. Incomplete. But real. Humans marked one area of space in red, she said. A region we never explored. A region we always avoided. A region humans called. Her voice dropped. The hollow sector. No one spoke for several seconds. Even breathing felt loud. The Valar Emperor finally whispered, "What lives there?" Dr. Yurna shook her head. "We don't know. But the Dreadnought is now rotating toward that area." The hall temperature felt like it dropped to ice. Every empire suddenly faced a new truth. The Dreadnought was not the enemy. It was preparing for something else. Something it was built to face long ago. Something the humans feared. And now, the galaxy's greatest weapon was waking up. Because whatever lived in the hollow sector was waking up too. Rethar pointed a claw at the council table. "We must flee. Shut down borders, lock our systems, prepare for evacuation." The council leader shook her head. "Running will not save us. If the Dreadnought is preparing for war, then we must understand the threat." "And how do you suggest we do that?" someone shouted. She answered with a single, heavy word. "Contact." Every leader stared at her as if she had gone mad. "You want to talk to that thing? It is not alive. It killed empires. It may kill again." The leader raised her chin. "It has not fired. It has not threatened us. If there is even one chance the Dreadnought still holds ancient human knowledge, then we must ask it what is coming." Nobody liked the idea. Nobody believed it was safe. But nobody had a better plan. And deep in space, far from the council hall, the Dreadnought's engines flared brighter. As something stirred in the hollow sector. The Dreadnought slowed down as it reached the edge of the hollow sector. Its massive engines dimmed. Its front hull opened like a quiet steel flower. Something inside began to wake. Something older than every empire watching it. Across the galaxy, the Grand Council held its breath. 4 hours. No one spoke. No one moved. Every empire had their fleets ready to retreat. Every leader waited for a sign. An attack. A signal. Anything. At last, the void around the Dreadnought shimmered. A pulse of blue light expanded in all directions. Not a weapon. A broadcast. The operator in the council hall screamed out, "Incoming transmission! Very old. Very different. It is human." Every heartbeat in the hall stopped. A voice came through the speakers. Broken. Distorted. Thousands of years old. But still human. If this message is playing, humanity has failed to stop them. Our outposts have fallen. Our fleets are gone. This Dreadnought carries our last defense system. The entire council froze. "Failed to stop who?" someone whispered. The recording continued. "We named them the Hollow Swarm, not because they come from the hollow sector, but because they hollow out everything they touch." A cold wind of fear passed through the room. The Hollow Swarm. A name no one had ever heard. And yet everyone understood. The voice spoke again, weaker this time, fading. "They are not conquerors. They do not destroy for power. They do it because they must feed. They consume stars, planets, souls." The message cracked into static for a moment, then returned. This Dreadnought is not a weapon of war. It is a seal. A last lock to slow them down. If the Dreadnought is awake, then the seal has broken. The hall erupted in horror. The Zulkan admiral grabbed the council leader. "You see, this is the end. The swarm is coming. We are finished." But the leader pushed him back. "No, not yet. Continue the message." The recording played on. If anyone finds this ship, run. Hide. Do not face them alone. Humanity tried, and we were erased. The message ended. The hall filled with a thick, heavy silence. Humanity, the empire the whole galaxy once feared, had been wiped out by something far worse. Something waking right now. Suddenly the holoscreen blinked again. A new signal. Not human. Not familiar. A deep vibration rushed through space, shaking every scanner across the systems. A dark shape emerged from the hollow sector. At first, it looked like a cloud. A slow-moving shadow. Then thousands of lights inside it blinked like eyes. The operator's voice trembled. Contact. Contact confirmed. The hollow swarm has exited the sector. The dark cloud spread its tendrils across space. Each tendril swallowed light. Stars dimmed behind it. Then, the cloud turned. Toward the Dreadnought. Toward the galaxy. Reaction hit like a thunderstorm. Leaders shouted orders. Fleets scrambled. Citizens panicked. The Dreadnought, however, remained silent. Still. Glowing faintly blue. Like it was waiting. Inside the council hall, Dr. Yurna stared at her datapad. Her hands shook, but her mind was sharp. The Dreadnought is not fighting, she murmured. It is scanning. It is studying the swarm. The Valar Emperor shouted. We need it to attack. Now. Dr. Yurna shook her head. It can't. The message said it is only a seal. A lock. A delay. The council leader turned to her. Then why is it waking up now? Because the swarm has found it again, she whispered. And it is preparing the final part of the seal. Everyone fell silent as her words settled. The Dreadnought carries a final weapon, she continued. One humans hoped they would never need to use. Rethar leaned forward. What weapon? Dr. Yurna swallowed. Her eyes filled with fear. Self-destruction. Shock filled the room. The council leader whispered. A weapon that big, if it explodes near the swarm. It will slow them for centuries, Yurna said. Maybe more. But it will destroy everything around it, someone cried. She nodded. That is why humans never used it. They would have died with it. And they did not want to doom innocent systems. A horrible truth hit the council. If the Dreadnought exploded where it was now, millions of lives across nearby systems would burn. But if they stopped it, the swarm would reach the core worlds. There was no safe option. Only survival or extinction. Then a new alarm sounded. The Dreadnought was charging energy. Its core glowed white-hot, brighter than a star. The swarm accelerated, moving faster, hungrier. The council leader whispered, We must choose. One choice would save the galaxy. The other would doom it. But before she could speak, the Dreadnought itself sent a message. A fresh one. Clear. Cold. Alive. Stand back. Protocol Omega is active. The Dreadnought had made its own choice, and everyone now understood. The final seal was about to break, and something unstoppable was about to begin. The Dreadnought's warning echoed through every system. Stand back. Protocol Omega is active. Those cold words shook the galaxy more than any weapon ever had. Protocol Omega. No empire knew what it truly meant, but everyone felt the truth. It was the final step. The last seal. The endgame humanity never wanted anyone to witness. In deep space, the Dreadnought's hull split open along glowing red lines. Massive plates shifted aside, revealing a bright core, a sphere of swirling white energy held in place by ancient human technology. The core pulsed, faster and faster. In front of it, the hollow swarm swelled like a living storm. Its shadow spilled across entire star systems. Millions of tiny shapes moved inside it, like insects made of darkness. They knew the Dreadnought. They remembered it. They wanted to consume it again. The swarm extended its tendrils toward the ancient human ship. This time, it did not hide. This time, it charged straight for it. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, panic exploded. They are closing distance. The Dreadnought will explode in less than 16 minutes. Millions of our people are in those nearby systems. We must evacuate. The council leader raised her voice above the chaos. Listen. We cannot stop the Dreadnought. Humanity built it to complete this mission. If we interfere, the seal will fail, and the swarm will reach our colonies. No one wanted to hear it. No one wanted to accept it. But everyone understood. The Dreadnought was sacrificing itself. Because nothing else in the galaxy could slow the swarm. Dr. Yurna stared at the screens in horror. The core. It's overheating. But it's controlled overheating. The humans designed this. It will create a blast big enough to tear a hole in the swarm's body. But what about the people living in nearby systems? A Zerlak senator shouted. Yurna looked down. Her voice cracked. That's why humans never activated Protocol Omega. They cared about innocent life, even when they were losing everything. The room fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood something painful. Humans were not monsters. They were protectors, and they died trying to save everyone else. In space, the swarm reached the Dreadnought. Dark tendrils slammed against the hull. The metal screamed, bending and cracking, but it didn't break. The Dreadnought's ancient AI spoke again. Protocol Omega. Phase 2. Giant arms unfolded from the ship's sides. 6 energy rings rotated around the glowing core, locking into position. Each ring hummed like a dying star. The swarm reacted violently. It wrapped itself around the ship, trying to smother the light. But the light grew brighter. Across the galaxy, ships evacuated the nearby populated systems. Families cried. Children screamed. Worlds shook as fleets rushed their people into space. The council leader watched evacuation reports appear on the screens. We can't save them all, someone whispered. No, the leader said quietly. But we can save the galaxy. At that moment, she finally understood why humans built the Dreadnought. It was not a weapon of conquest. It was a shield humans used until their dying breath. And now it was humanity's last gift to the galaxy. The Dreadnought's core turned pure white. The swarm felt it. For the first time in its history, it hesitated. It tried to retreat. The Dreadnought didn't allow it. Protocol Omega. Final phase. The ring spun at impossible speed. The core expanded. Cracks of light shot through the ship's outer shell. Then everything stopped. 1 second of complete silence. 1 second where every heart in the galaxy paused. 1 second before the universe changed. The Dreadnought exploded. But it wasn't a normal explosion. It was a star born in an instant. A white supernova that tore across space. The blast wave cracked the swarm's massive shadow body. Light poured into its dark shape, burning millions of its creatures out of existence. The swarm screamed, a sound that shook sensors in systems light years away. The wave kept going, ripping through space like a blade, cutting deep into the swarm's core. The beast of darkness began to fall apart. Inside the council hall, everyone watched the screens in stunned silence. The Dreadnought was gone. The bright explosion slowly faded. All that remained was a massive broken wound in the swarm structure, a wound glowing with white flame. The swarm slowly drifted back toward the hollow sector, bleeding shadows like smoke. It wasn't dead, but it was crippled, slowed, damaged, wounded for centuries, just as humanity had designed. Dr. Yurna whispered, almost in tears. They did it. The humans saved us again. The council leader placed a hand on the console. No, she said softly. They bought us time. The swarm will return. And when it does, we must be ready. The galaxy stared at the fading white star left behind by the Dreadnought. A silent promise from a lost species. Humanity may be gone, but their shield still protects the stars. Now the question hung heavy in the air. When the swarm returns, will the galaxy stand united, or fall exactly like humanity did?